Hello and welcome back to the Macca's Talk Hockey Podcast, the podcast where me and my brother Charlie, say hello.
Hello, 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 hello.
We talk about English ice hockey, specifically the National Ice Hockey League, the league we love and enjoy. And today we have got a special episode, the Bristol Pitbulls special. And we are also joined a bit later by Bristol forward Mason Lipsey with a very nice interview, wasn't it, Charlie?
Yeah, it was really good. Really interesting with the young new team and a player who's broke up from the National One League to the National League. So yeah.
Charlie, how are you feeling today? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Arsenal just won the cup, but yeah, not too bad.
You forgot to ask a question.
What's the Beveragino, Jack?
It is a Pepsi Max.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, we got the Pepsi Max. Let's go straight into it then.
Whoa!
And
Beveragino. We've got the lovely pink mug if you're watching on YouTube with a hot chocolate. So
okay. You can actually watch it on Spotify as well because we upload the video. So yeah, we appreciate all the support, by the way. Absolutely nuts support. And we're going to be doing so much posts on all our socials at Macca Talks Hockey. But let's get straight into it. So the Bristol Pitbulls came into the league last season. And as you'll hear in the interview later, they are actually going to have 3-year. It was going to be a 3-year wait before they came in, but they came after the first year, Charlie. What does that say about their ambition to get into the league?
Well, they had so many fans last year and the year in their first year. The club had a lot of hype around them, a lot of positivity, a lot of talented young players, and they stepped up and they performed at a decent level at our level, and they're here to play.
Yeah, they narrowly missed out on playoffs last season. I think they were just a few points behind. Was it Telford who snuck in at 8th place? So they weren't. Oh no, it was Basingstoke. It was Basingstoke. So they weren't too far off the playoffs, and they're going to try and push for playoffs this season. But yeah, what do you make of Bristol last season?
I think they were very young and energetic.
Yeah,
I think that they're defensively. I think they were a bit open at times, and there was some goal scores like MK away. But they had some really bright spells and some lower spells. But I think that's normal for a young new team.
Yeah, they brought in a lot of players which they had from the league below. You have the likes of, you have the 3 Swindon lads. You've got Josh Shaw, Jay Warren, and Mason Lipsey. Them 3 especially, I thought did really well coming up into the league. And Jay Warren and Lipsey, they both hit over 30 points, which I think is a really good amount for this league, considering it was their first full season, Charlie.
Yeah, really stood out. They surprised me. They did. They did surprise me. I didn't think they'd hit them numbers in the league, and they did really well. And Josh Shaw got lots of ice time for a 16/17-year-old in the National League too.
Yeah, I think Bristol was the perfect place for them to get the ice time. It was their first season, and yeah, you just saw what they can actually do at this level. And yeah, speaking to Jay, I do message Jay quite a bit. He had a very good season, and Mason got 18 goals as well. They signed an import, Sobchak, and it wasn't very long, and he became the captain, Charlie. He became the captain of the whole team, and he was only there for a few weeks.
Yeah, Owen Sobchak, he's a really good player. Great two-way game. It almost surprises you because he isn't the tallest of fellas. He's one of the shortest players in the league, and he's one of the smallest players in the league, but he's very technical. He picks up the points. He seems like he's a really big leader there, and he's almost in the foundations of Bristol now. He's a key player, and he's back again.
Yeah, he was so unfortunate. He got that big injury. I think he broke a bone in his leg somewhere, and it took him out for the rest of the season. And I think that was not the downfall, but from when Sobchak got injured, you could tell they were missing him, and they just didn't quite put in as good of performances as they were at the start of the season. And I think people forget they actually had Roberts at the start of the season, Charlie, and he ended up moving to Raiders. So they did play about a lot with imports. I think they ended up having 4 imports in the league because they brought Babrea back as well.
Oh, yeah.
So they brought Babrea back. But there's the other import that had a really good season is Nick Corrick. What did you make of Nick Corrick?
He was good. I actually think that he was better than I originally thought he was. Yeah. His points numbers, I'll get them up now. They speak for themselves. He played for them, and he actually finished their top point scorer, and he only played 35 games.
Exactly.
He got 62 points in 35 games, which is phenomenal for this level. And he just he was a really good player. Like, he picked up the points. He came in. He went under the radar for me, and yeah.
Well, going into the season, what was your expectations of Bristol? Because they were a new team. I think a lot of people put them to finish high, but realistically, it was their first season, wasn't it?
I didn't expect them to get playoffs. And that's not me putting anything down on the team they had. They were young. I don't think they quite had the goalie tandem. I think the statistics talk for themselves in that department. And I think they showed promising signs. And I actually do think at times they were a really good team in this league. Like when they had a fully fit team with Sobchat, they brought in Bailey Harewood during the year, Nick Corrick. They really got going. And I think if they can get on some momentum,
well,
they'll be better this year.
We got to bring it up. Their games against Swindon were unbelievable. It's safe to say there is a big rivalry, and it's going to get even bigger next year. Charlie, they got the better of us this season, didn't they?
Yeah. The first half of the season was Bristol's year. The second half of the season was Swindon's year in that derby. They just pumped us in the first 3 games. Like to put it nice, they were just wanted it more. They were more hungry for it. And I think that was Bristol's biggest strength is they worked hard, they chased down every putt, they went into every corner battle. So you can't knock them for that.
Young, fresh legs, and I think with a lot of and we talk about this with the owner of Solway, but a lot of the players who come up from the league below, we don't really know what to expect from them, and I thought they did really well. So credit to them. Shall we get into the Mason interview, because I think it's a really good interview, and after the interview we'll chat about what we expect from them next season, the lines we'd play, etc. So should we head on into the interview, Charlie?
Yeah.
Hello, we are back and we have got a special guest. Charlie, do you want to introduce him?
Yep, we would like to welcome onto the podcast today a 21-year-old who played his first season in the National League last season, picking up 18 goals. He worked his way up the Swindon junior route, a sniper on the ice, known for his hard shot for the Bristol Pitbulls. We would like to welcome onto the podcast Mason Lipsey. How are we doing, mate?
How are we doing, guys? Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, how's your summer been? Have you managed to get away from hockey?
Yeah, we had an end of trip Bristol. We went to Magaluf, so we had, and then I had a holiday with a family to Spain as well. So I've managed to get away twice, which is nice. It's always nice to get away from hockey at the end because it's so like your weekends of.
Well, there's so many games. There's going to be even more next season with the amount of playoff games as well. When are you going to get back on the ice? When's the plans for the team?
I think like the end of August, start of September, we're going to be starting. But there's a summer league going on in Bristol, so myself and most of the return Bristol players have been on the ice every week. So
okay, nice. And obviously last season, your first season in the full season in the National Ice Hockey League. How did you find it? Because you smashed it really for a first full season.
Yeah, there was obviously a lot of pressure, but it's also a big step to get up to there.
Yeah,
the game is so much faster at this level. There's a lot more better players to play against. Yeah. So, but yeah.
What would you say the main differences are from the NIHL 1 going to the NIHL 2? Because you still kept the consistency of points.
I'd say it's more defensive than it is attacking. In the NIHL 1, it's still a good league, but when it's more fast paced, like always counter attack after counter attack. Like in this league, you get a bit more time to defend and set up.
Bit more tactical, would you say, in that defensive area?
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to go back to the start. Really, you had a couple games of you and Jay were brought up together. And you had a couple games of Swindon, but they had their main roster, I think, set. And you took that move to go to Bristol and you played in the NIHL 1. What was your decisions behind that? Was it just to get a bit more experience going?
Yeah, it was just to build up my skill level, and obviously because my plan was to obviously get to National League. So when the NIHL 1, we took a step almost kind of down just to get confidence and see how we would do in that league, to then make sure we was ready for the National League. And
you've obviously had a great season last season. You've signed another 2-year contract with Bristol, so you're here not only next season, the season after. Is Bristol your home now?
Well, I could say that potentially, but Bristol's got a lot of potential. It's got a great fan base. it's on game nights, it's sellout after sellout.
Yeah.
It's just pretty much just a perfect place to be.
And you got a lot of ice time as well last season.
Yeah, I did get a lot of ice time, which was again more pressure, but I thought I'd done quite well.
Yeah, Charlie, did you want to pop over a
Um,
question?
I wanted to ask, what was it like joining? Because although Bristol was a team, the first year you joined them in the National One League, it was almost like joining a brand new team. And
Yeah.
obviously, you've been there since the start, you could say. What's it been like with Bristol, and how good were they to start off, and how did they build up, and what are the Hargreaves like as well?
Yeah, well, Richie's a character, but he's a great guy. Mike as well. Because my dad, back when he coached the Wildcats, obviously signed Mike and Richie on to the Wildcats.
Yeah.
So they have a past, but yeah, Richie's brought it from playing 9 years on the road,
Yeah.
or to then bringing it straight into a brand new rink, into a higher league.
Yeah.
And then the original plan was to get to National League in 3 seasons, and then we took a step up after one.
Yeah.
So there's shows a lot of potential
Yeah.
in the club.
Looking back at last season, obviously it was your first season in the league, and Hull also joined as well with you guys. And I have to say, the first half of the season, you definitely shocked a lot of teams. I think you had a young team, especially against us. Actually, the games against us were very, very good, and you actually got the upper hand. What was the tactics going into the games against Swindon? Because you didn't really have the, I'd say, experience in the team, but you had them young legs. What was the tactics going into them games?
Of course, a lot of Bristol players are from Swindon, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we try harder, but it's obviously we will want to win that game the most, of course. But Jamie likes a very young team, so everyone always has fresh legs, which then cuts out a little bit of the experience level. But once we get building up as younger players come through, they'll have the experience, and we should start coming up into the league.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on one player who came in, Owen Sobchak, obviously coming from Canada, and then he got made, I don't know how many weeks into the season, but he got made the captain. What is he like to have in the team? Because he has that bit of experience to add to the young players.
Yeah, he's a great player. He's also a great guy. He's a great leader.
Yeah.
He almost boosts everyone confidences up in the changing room. So like if somebody's having a bad shift, like he always give you a tap, say head up, keep going. We'll get there in the end. So yeah, he is literally a great guy.
Yeah. Charlie, go on.
Do you know Jamie Ellison? Obviously he was assistant coach at the Devils. He was successful there, and he's taken his step into being the main coach. How has he helped develop your game personally as a player? Because I feel like you stepped up massively over the last 2 seasons.
Obviously Jamie had the success with Cardiff, so he's had that experience, and then he's been chucked in the deep end of actually managing the team full time as a head coach.
Yeah.
And then when I was coming over, my weakness in my game was my defensive game, because obviously I'm a centre, so you need to be also attacking, but also defensively as well. You play a main role in the defensive zone.
Yeah.
So Jamie helped me a lot with improving my defensive ability, working on face-offs, etc., putting me out on key face-offs that win your games. So
yeah, nice. And you had a few fights last season as well. Have you always been that a fighter, one to drop the gloves, or
no, mate.
Why not?
Nah, I definitely don't go out looking for it. It's just kind of one of them ones that if obviously there's a dirty hit or anything, like your team, when you get a bunch of lads together as a team, you stick up for one of each other. So
no, I think that's perfect person to have on the team, and hopefully we can see a few scraps next season as well. So, I've wanted to look again at next season's roster. You've brought in the likes of Lindgren from Bees. You've brought in Sirisenis. I think it backs up what you said about getting those younger players in. Are you looking forward to next season playing with all these younger players?
Yeah, I can't wait, because it just brings speed. It makes me be slower, but bringing a lot of speed and a lot of young talent in. Well, Uhab put up 67 points last season.
Yeah, he was a joke.
Yeah, so, and Serenis was also great as well. So bringing that, because obviously Peterborough won that
cup. Yeah.
Yeah, so bringing that experience down to a team like us, it was our first season in National League. That would give everyone a bit of boost of confidence.
Yeah. Go on,
Have
Charlie.
you got a favourite memory from last year, like a game which stands out to you as the game you loved?
I'd probably say it's one of our last games was when we played Peterborough,
Hmm.
and I scored a slap shot from the blue line, and then we got put down in the third period and we were penalty killing, and I blocked a shot and then went down and scored the game winner. So
Nice. Yeah, Peterborough definitely. Well, they've lost a few players this season, haven't
yeah,
they? But no, it'll be very good next season. I wanted to talk about another player because obviously you had Owen who got that injury, and I think that was quite a big loss for you guys in that midpoint of last season, having your captain out. But you signed Nick Corrick, who came in, and for the viewers who don't actually know, Nick Corrick is actually good mates with Connor McDavid. And I'm hearing rumours that Nick Corrick would sometimes call Connor McDavid after a game. Can you confirm whether this is true or not?
I haven't seen him call him. I know he messages him quite often, like because
Yeah.
obviously he's quite close with him, but he doesn't really say too much. He doesn't really brag, but
Yeah.
he just kind of just stays cool. But
Well,
it's obviously great to have a star like Connor McDavid as one of your close friends.
oh yeah, we're just gonna pretend that Connor McDavid knows the National Ice Hockey League and the Bristol Pitbulls. But yeah, how was it playing with Nick last season? Because me and Charlie didn't really know much about him, and he seemed to just get points after points after points.
Yeah, I didn't play with him as much as some of the other players, but watching him he's a great playmaker.
Yeah.
He can score goals. He can pretty much, he's an all round player.
Yeah.
He's big. He's physical. He can put the puck in the net when you need to. So yeah.
Now you play me. When you're mates with McDavid,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can learn a lot, really. Charlie, did you have another question to pop over?
Next season, going on to that and talking about what do you want to keep improving on in your game? What's your goals? What's your have you set yourself personal targets?
Yeah, I've set myself certain personal targets as still keeping on improving my defensive game as a centre, still hopefully being put out in key opportunities, as I said before, and then still obviously scoring in key games that we need to win.
Yeah.
And just carry on just working on both sides of the game really and getting used to the National League.
Yeah, nice. I wanted to end the interview. I just wanted to ask about your brother. Your brother came through at the end of last season. Did you end up playing a game against him, or did the fixtures not match?
Nah, he had an under-18s game the same day we had it, so his priority was the under-18s.
Yeah, I remember you saying actually when you came and watched.
Yeah, he was. I would have played him. I'm going to be playing him next season. There's also a bit of tension in the household, but it's all.
Yeah, what has he been? Has there been some chirping going on between
yeah,
you?
he likes to chirp, so I just kind of entertain it. But yeah, me and my dad was there when he scored the first goal. It's obviously great to score it at 16. I didn't have the opportunity to score it, so
yeah, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that next season. Hopefully, they can match up. And looking at next season as well, what's your expectations, not just for yourself, but for the team as well? Obviously, you've got a full team. Hopefully, Owen's back full fit. You've signed a few young players. Is it to make the playoffs and just try and push as high up the table as you can?
Yeah, I think as a team, for our team goal is to obviously make playoffs, do at least better last year. But I think as a team, we want to become obviously eventually up to higher standings of the tables, and then keep on improving, and then hopefully sometime get up one.
I like the strategy that Bristol are going with, really getting all these young players, getting them on board, and you and Jay have both signed 2-year contracts, so it's clear what Jamie wants to do with the team. Charlie, did you have any more questions before we end the interview?
Finally, what are the Bristol Pitbull fans like, and have you got a message for them?
The Bristol Pitbull fans are obviously great. They're great on game day. We could get pumped 8-0 and they still sell out the next week, which you don't get very often.
Yeah.
So it shows their love for the game. And my message to them is can't wait for the next season, and I'll be there soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Mason. Thanks for hopping on, and hopefully McDavid can
maybe come watch a game. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we get him on the pod one day.
Yeah, potentially, mate.
Well, I appreciate that. Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next season.
Sweet. See you later.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mason, for hopping on. A really good interview, actually, Charlie. I did learn a lot.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. He's a good lad, Mason. Works hard.
Yeah.
And I liked how he talked about and was honest about how he needed to improve his two-way game and how much he has improved it. And it shows it is possible to jump up from the National One League to the NIHL and perform well.
100%. And that leads on to next season, Charlie. So Bristol's second season, they've signed some players. Charlie, do you want to have a go through their roster and who's gone out and who's come in?
So they've got a brand new goalie tandem, and we're going to touch on that just now with Matthew Smittle and Ben Norton. What do you think of that?
It's an upgrade. I think it's a big upgrade. Ben Norton has shown I know it's a big title to give him, but people are saying he's the next Ben Bounds. He is a very big young talent. However, Charlie, it is a bit of inexperience in this level, and that's why I think they've gone with Matt Smittle as the second goalkeeper, because I do expect Smittle to play quite a few games.
Yeah, I actually really like the signing of Ben Norton. I was skeptical when they signed Matt Smittle, and a lot of people rumoured them to the likes of Dan Crowe, and I don't think Dan Crowe's a bad backup in this league for sure. But I like them taking a risk on Ben Norton. Yeah. And I think in the long term, you get this guy a season in the National League and maybe Bristol make playoffs. Then you get a second season in the National League. Potentially, in his third season, he could be one of the best goalies in this league.
And he's on the two-way as well. Is it with Cardiff?
Yeah, so he's working with Ben Bounds.
Exactly. So he's going to be learning off Ben Bounds, and he's going to be getting elite players working with them in training as well. So I think that's a good little bring in. And as you heard about in the interview, Mason, they're getting all these young players in, and they're building for not only for this season to try and get playoffs, but the future as well. So I think a goalie. Yeah, go on.
I do think the goalie department can be something they could struggle in some games. Having a young goalie like Ben Norton, it can be difficult. He is going to have games where he isn't quite there. He's very young. He's 2004. He's 19, 20 years old. That's so young in this league. And Matthew Smittle, he has his good games and bad games. I think that's fair to say. Yeah. So I think, yes, they've improved on their goalie core, but I still think there will be times in the season where it will be a bit frustrating.
I think that's the risk you got to take, though. You're bringing in a young goalkeeper and you're getting ready for the future, but he's going to have some really good games. And for sure, he's probably going to have a worldie against Swindon because that's how it normally goes, isn't it, Charlie?
Yeah.
Right, let's move on to the D. So who have they got rid of? Because they have lost two big D men, but who have they brought in, Charlie?
Well, so they lost Reece Kelly, Ben Soldier, and Sean... no, not Sean Morris, the other lad who was from there before.
Yeah,
but they have brought in. Oh, my elite prospects is messed up. But they've brought in Dan Bradley, who is Ed Bradley's brother. He's come back actually because he left last year. They brought in Reece Cochrane and Neil Lydiard, and then the man Tanner Butler.
Tanner Butler. So I'll go into him a bit. So Daniel Bradley, he was playing at Bees last season a bit, so he got his experience at Bees, and I think I'll be all right. He's playing with his brother. We've seen it at Bees, Harvey Stead and Will Stead as well. They've been playing together and they've improved a lot. Ed Bradley's there. He's the main D-man. I think that's the guy who they kind of build their defense around because he's on their power plays. And we don't really need to speak about Ed Bradley because he is class. Reece Cochrane, I was really impressed with him, and he's got that elite league experience, Charlie.
Reece Cochrane looks really good. I like him. I like the look of him, and he's the solid replacement for one of the two D-men. The D-man I'm most interested in, and I really like the look of him, Tanner Butler.
Yes.
I really like the look of him as an import D-man, because if you're going to bring a D-man into this league, you do want him to be able to pick up the points, because they are using an import slot. He's in the Australian League right now. The man scored 24 points in 16 games from D. He's played around. He's travelled well as well. He's played in Sweden, Australia, so he's going to be used to playing in different countries. He's been in lots of different American leagues. Yeah, I think he can pick up points in our league. I really do. I like the look of him a lot.
And he's an experienced import. It's not another young player to go in the team. He's an experienced an experienced head.
30 years old.
Yeah, exactly. So he's been around, as you said. And I think he's going to be really good. The points he gets as a D-man is really good as well. I think that's really important in this league. And then Neil Lydiard, he is back again. He just can't get away from hockey. He needs to be playing. No. And he's got himself in a really young team again. That experienced head to get into that defense. And we'll talk about our lines in a minute, but I think he's going to play one of those young players and they can learn so much from him.
And for a guy who's got the experience he has, if you've got a goalie who's 19 starting goal and he's letting a goal which maybe he doesn't normally let in, having someone like Neil Liddy to go over to him, tap him on the shoulder, get him back up, get his head pointing high again, I think it's really important at times.
And he's one of the best defenders at blocking shots, so that will help as well. We love Lids, and I really hope he has a good season because
Me too.
Yeah, we'll see how long it goes. Will this be his last season? I don't know. Let's move on to the forwards then. So they've brought in a few new faces, and I like the new faces they've brought in, Charlie.
Yeah, so they brought in Ralph Sesenis from the Phantoms. They've got, obviously, Bailey Harewood back on a full-time.
Yep.
They've got Adam Harding, who's actually playing this year. They've got Christian Moore from the Slough Jets on a two-way. And then finally, they've got Luke Smittle, from Slough Jets on a full-time. And finally, but not least, Juha Lindgren.
And that last one you just said, Juha Lindgren, I think that's a great little pickup. I was really impressed with him at the Bees last season. I think he was one of their best players for sure. And he got really good points from last season. And fitting in that young team, another year in our league, getting used to it. He's going to be class. And alongside Cyrus Ennis as well, Mason talked about it in the interview. He's got that experience. He's just won a trophy at Peterborough. So, yeah, two really good players come in, Charlie.
Yeah, I really like them. Cyrus Ennis got a trophy under his belt with some good experience. Juha really good. Luke Smittle scored a couple for them when he was there last year.
Yeah.
And Adam Harding back on a full-time. An experienced head, always scores against Swindon, point a game at the National League. Adam Harding being back will be a nice pickup.
It'll be interesting. I don't know. It might take a bit of time for him to settle in, but we know Harding has the skill and ability to light up this league. Should we get into the lines we play then? If we were Bristol, obviously it's up to their coach.
Should we start off with defence?
Yeah, so I'll go first. I've got, as a third line, I've got Lydiard and Sam Smith. I think they've played together at Swindon before. You got that experienced head, and then you got the youngster who's got a lot of potential, I think, in Sam Smith. So I think they'll complement each other quite well, Charlie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that third pairing. Sam Smith he's a very good skater from when we had him at Swindon, which helps Neil Lydiard out, whose skating is obviously going down as he gets a little bit older. So I think they would complement each other nicely, and one can sit back a bit more. Sam Smith can get a bit more freedom. Be a nice little pairing that.
On the second line, I've actually gone with Bradley and Bradley. Now I've got the brothers because I think the first and second line, I think they're going to be equally as important. And I think you've got one, again, Bradley's experience at this level, despite him still being young, I think he's still experienced, and he's going to be playing with his brother who's not as experienced, but they know each other like the back of their hand. They're brothers. So I put them on the same line, and then on the top line, or both of them are top lines really, but you got Cochrane and Butler, and I think that's going to be their attacking line, Charlie.
Well, actually, surprisingly, we never do normally agree, but I agree there. Yeah. I actually do agree, because I think you can't. You could play the imported Dan Bradley, but I think from what I've heard with Reece Cochrane, he does like the defensives as well. He's Scottish, and if he's anything like Plusy, they love a good check. They love the rougher side of the defensive game. So yeah, I really like them pairings. I think that Bradley pairing is a big step up for Dan Bradley, getting second line minutes, and maybe Bristol will bring in one more D-man. I don't know.
They might do.
But it's going to be big. There's big roles for players, and some players do have to step up. But it can work. I do think that decor can work.
Yeah, you look at the decor from last season. Obviously, they don't have Kelly and they don't have Soldier, but they've almost replaced them with Butler and Cochrane. So I think they've kind of replaced them with just as good, if not even better players. So yeah, I'm excited for that decor, and yeah, we'll see how that works next season. Let's go on to the attackers then. So I'll go first. On a fourth line, I would go with Elliot Lewis, Morris, and Smittle. I think that's your grinder line. I think they'll go out, they'll let the top guys rest a bit, and they'll just work their arse off for the team. Yeah.
I would actually slightly change the fourth line. I would play Christian Moore, Sean Morris, and Elliot Lewis. Three big bodies. And I just tell them to hit them hard and skate hard.
Yeah, because some of these are going to be on two ways as well, so they might not be playing every game. But let's get on to the third line, and I would play Lipsy as the centre, Jay Warren as the winger, and Cyrus Ennis as the other winger. I think that line would be they were a pain in the arse last season to play against. I think that line. I wouldn't want to come against that line, Charlie.
No, I agree. But I would change one player in there. Okay. I'd play Jay Warren. I'd play Mason Lipsey, and I'd actually play Adam Harding on that line.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'd give him a nice little step back into it, play him as a winger. with two quick players, some players who picked up points at National League.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Maybe you could be right, not throw them straight into the deep end of the top line. But yeah, either way, I think their third line's going to be a big grinder. Last season, Jay and Mason were quality on that third line because they just hassled you. They hassled and hassled. Jay's what you call a rat in the league. He is a rat. People don't like him. Fans don't like him. But actually, if you're looking at a hockey point of view, he's very effective. He's always in your face. He's really annoying to play against, and he's quick as lightning. So yeah. I think Jay's really stepped up this season. I've been very impressed with him. I'm not just saying that because he is a mate of mine as well. Second line, I would go with Coric as the centre, and then you got Hardin and Lindgren either side of him. I just think they complement each other quite well. And yeah, I really rate Lindgren, as I said.
Yeah, I would play Coric as the centre, I agree. And then I'd play Lindgren and Susenis as the wingers.
Susenis, yeah.
That would be one of the most... they're all quite quick, short... rapid little players, and I think that would be a nice little line.
And then the top line is I put Lindgren twice. I've messed this up.
Me too.
It's all right. I've got Harewood, Sobchak, and then you can play either Lindgren or Sirisenis on top line. You can switch the third and fourth line about. But yeah, Harewood and Sobchak. Harewood last season, I think he's got an even bigger role this season, would you say?
Yeah, Bailey Harewood, this is his year to do what I think Sean Norris and Talbot did last year, where you just light up the league. Push for that 80, 90 point mark. He is talented. He is good. And yeah, it's big season. And Sobchak, what a player.
Yeah, so a full season of Sobchak, and hopefully he doesn't get another injury, really, because I really rate Sobchak as well. Let's get on to our ones to watch then, and then we'll finish with our expectations. I'm going to go with, shall I go first again, Charlie?
Yeah.
So my ones to watch is going to be Juha Lindgren. I think he's that technical player which is going to come in. He's got a bit of experience in this league now. He put up 46 points last season in a Bees team which finished 10th in the league. I think he's going to fit in really, really well with them lads. I think he'll get a lot of points, especially if he's playing on one of them top two lines. So I'm going to go with Juha Lindgren as mine. Charlie, who have you picked for your ones to watch for Bristol?
I've picked Reece Cockram, the D-man.
Wow, yeah.
I really like Reece Cockram. I think he's going to be a different bite to their D-core. And if he does play in that top four, which he definitely will do, he's going to get lots of minutes. He's going to improve loads, and he's going to prove why he's one of the top defenders in the league.
Yep. And we actually watched him, was it 5-6 years ago when he was 16 years old in it was like a juniors championship, and it was held at the Link Centre.
Yeah.
And you could notice him because he was gobbing off at the ref. He was their captain, and he was just a good player as well. He was up and down the ice. So yeah, I agree with that. I think Cochrane's
the under-17 Scottish Conference. It was
exactly, yeah. And he was the standout player from all the teams, I think. So yeah, Reece Cochrane's a really good shout there, Charlie. Expectations then for Bristol next season. What are you expecting? Are you expecting them to get the playoffs this year?
I'll be honest, I don't think they will make it into the playoffs. Wow. I don't. I think that they look a little bit I just think every team in the league is so strong this year. And you have to pick three teams who aren't going to make playoffs. And for me, Bristol are one of them. But it's this point of the year where we speak to all the players, and every single player expectation is minimum playoffs.
Yeah.
So it's going to be one of them seasons where you're going to have three teams who are gutted at the end of the year. And for me, I just think Bristol lack a bit in some departments, and I wouldn't put them in the playoffs, but they could prove me wrong.
Yeah, we're going to do our league predictions video about a week before the season. We're going to let all the signings. Well, let's not forget Bristol could sign some players as well. You never know. But yeah, I think their expectation is going to be minimum playoffs, of course. I just think from third, fourth downwards, I think it's going to be such a dogfight for the playoffs. I don't really know. I think they could get playoffs with this team. They've got a really good young team, and I actually think they've brought in the experienced players to complement their youngsters. Yeah. You've got the likes of Lydiard, you've got Butler, you've got Sobchak who's going to come back. So I think they're pushing in the right direction. But as we said, I think the team's built more for the future. I think you've got players in there who in 2-3 years' time are going to be the dominant players of the league. So, yeah, we'll have to see with Bristol. Let us know at us on our social media. Where do you think Bristol are going to finish this season? And, yeah, Our ones to watch was Reece Cochran and Lindgren. So let us know as well who your ones to watch is. Charlie, have you got anything else to add on the Bristol Pitbulls?
Yeah, Bristol fans, let us know. We want to hear it. And league fans, let us know.
Yep. Thank you very much again, Mason, for hopping on for the interview. We thoroughly enjoyed that. And we're looking forward to the battles against Swindon next season. Thank you for tuning into this special episode. The next special we're going to be doing is a Solway special. So we've got a really nice one coming up. I think it'll be posted next weekend. So keep an eye on that. Thank you for listening. Peace.
Peace.